Fantasy Football Today. How to identify mid-round steals you need to draft to help you win your 2025 leagues. The fantasy football season has arrived. Well, not quite. We've arrived at OTAs, minicamps, and then we break until the information season that is training camp. However, now is the time to get started on your preparation for your 2025 fantasy football drafts. The Fantasy Football Today team has kicked things into high gear with podcasts and live shows delivered to pinpoint the players you want to target in all different rounds of your draft, and also those you want to avoid. On a recent episode of Fantasy Football Today, Adam Iser was joined by Dave Richard and Jamie Eisenberg to break down their favorite mid-round draft picks, who will ultimately end up as steals, and hopefully the difference makers in your championship lineups. Before we break down the players who Jamie, Dave, and Adam believe will help you win your leagues in the middle rounds of 2025 drafts, let's take a look back at who these players were for us in our last three fantasy draft classes, 2022 to 2024. Last draft season, the biggest draft steals in the middle rounds was a rookie. Several veterans joined him, and they came at all three different positions. In the 2 seasons before that, some of the biggest mid-round steals came from the tight end position. One of those players was counted out entirely as a fantasy bust for the 2022 season before it happened. The moral of the story: you can find a mid-round steal at any position. For this exercise, we are following the criteria that a mid-round steal has to have an ADP on Fantasy Pros between 49 to 96 overall prior to the season. Here were the biggest mid-round steals in each of the last 3 fantasy football seasons. Best mid-round steals in 2024. Asterisk also, in an effort to find a correlation between where the mid-round steal was drafted and if he was part of a productive NFL offense, Iser has organized the following players by where they were drafted overall AX. Malik Neighbors number 49, and where their team's offense finished overall in points per game AX. Giants finished 31st in points per game, so Neighbors has 31st alongside him. Devore Malik Neighbors, number 49, 31st. James Conner, 56, 13th. George Kittle, 57th, 14th. Aaron Jones, 59th, 9th. Joe Burrow, 62nd, 8th. David Montgomery, 62nd, 1st. T. Higgins, 62nd, 8th. Rashee Rice, 68th, 12th. Terry McLaurin, 72nd, 5th. Chris Godwin, 76th, 4th. Bottom line: other than Malik Neighbors, 49th pick, the true standouts were on top 14 offenses. And as we got later into the middle rounds, they were all on top 12 offenses or top 8 offenses if you exclude Rashee Rice. Best mid-round steals in 2023. DJ Moore, 51st, 17th. Alvin Kamara, 62nd, 9th. James Conner, 65th, 23rd. Rashad White, 66th, 20th. James Cook, 71st, 6th. Brandon Ayuk, 72nd, 1st. Isaiah Pacheco, 73rd, 14th. Mike Evans, 76th, 20th. Evan Engram, 78th, 12th. Michael Pittman, 82nd, 13th. David Njoku, 86th, 10th. David Montgomery, 86th, 5th. Dak Prescott, 90th, 5th. Bottom line: here we have another fairly strong correlation between players breaking out as mid-round steals while also being part of a top-half NFL scoring offense. But there were some exceptions. Best mid-round steals in 2022. Josh Jacobs, 49th, 12th. Breece Hall, 7 games, 52nd, 28th. Jalen Hurts, 55th, 2nd. Joe Burrow, 60th, 6th. Chris Godwin, 62nd, 24th. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 64th, 5th. T.J. Hockenson, 66th, 5th. Amari Cooper, 68th, 17th. Dallas Goedert, 71st, 2nd. Dameon Pierce, 84th, 31st. Miles Sanders, 85th, 2nd. Tony Pollard, 86th, 4th. Devonta Smith, 90th, 2nd. Bottom line. Once again, we see a lot of good offenses here attached to these mid-round steals. Who will break out from the mid-rounds in 2025? With the knowledge of who broke out and why from the past 3 draft seasons, Jamie sees Browns wide receiver Jerry Jeudy as a potential mid-round steal in 2025. I'm operating under the assumption that Joe Flacco will be the starter. I'm taking Jeudy over someone like Chris Olave. If you look at how Jeudy finished so strong in 2024, the lack of passing options around Jeudy, and what Flacco still brings to the table, Jeudy has a chance to finish top 10 in targets at the wide receiver position in the entire NFL. Jamie said on Fantasy Football Today.